Alright, so to create my transition from outside in, so we zoom in on the house, give it a moment, and now I'm going to add a new layer. And on this new layer I will click after everything else and hit F7. Now this layer is going to be my inside, so I will label it inside. I'm going to pull my guide layer on top and extend that out just so I can see where that is, because once I start drawing my artwork I won't be able to keep track of it very easily. I can now go grab a color to start drawing with. Now, if I want to color these sections, the floor and walls and things like that, right now my paint bucket is not going to be able to do much to those because they are hollow shapes. They're not enclosed shapes. So to enclose them, I need to extend them. No, hopefully that won't interfere. There. So I need to extend them around. Now I can grab the paint bucket and decide that our interior walls are going to be a beautiful orange color. We'll just make this other one a slightly different version. And my floor is going to be a nice blue. And my door from the inside will be a bright red. And I need to work on coloring in I thought that could be a nice little painting of a person, so we have a little piece of artwork on the wall, grab the paint bucket, decide that it will be filled with, I don't like that color. That works better. Okay, so now I have my room and I'm ready to do something with it. Now if I want to animate this the same as I animated my mountains, as I animated the outside view of my house, as I animated the bird, I need to do the same thing, which is convert this to a movie clip. So to do that, I can simply select all on it. I can use the marquee tool or the key command, Command A, that selects everything. Hit F8 and I can now convert that to a movie clip. So now I can do something with it because I can see here's my stage area. So I can see my red box showing me where I am in my view so that I can start out and animate this any way I see fit. So I'm going to start out with my view here, and then we will kind of pull the camera back away from the doors. So to start animating, I need to right click and choose Create Motion Tween. Now again, it did not give me my 24 frames because it's not at frame 1. So I can just click out in the timeline, add frames to that tween. I need to be able to see my stage area so I can see where it's at. And now I can just take and animate this as I see fit. So if I want to pull back on this, I'm going to shrink it down and move over a little bit so that it starts to show up on screen. Pull that up just a hair because I don't want to see that top edge. And now we can see it creates this camera movement of we're backing out in the scene. Now at this point, if I had, say, a character, I could have a character come on screen. Now how many people enjoy trying to draw someone walking? Anyone? Yeah, one person. That's it. Wow. Doing a walk cycle is a traditional test of an animator, and it is something that can, instill fear or happiness into you depending on your state of mind. So if I want to add someone walking and have them come on screen, I'm just trying to decide how big I want to make them. So if I have a person, and one thing I like to do in Flash is I like to just kind of sketch and draw lots of extraneous lines as I search and figure out what my character shape is going to be, because once I draw it in, it's possible if I just keep my pen moving here, then what I can do is I can go switch. Instead of using the eraser to clean things up, I know that Flash is going to cut up my artwork, or if I draw on the same layer, it will in effect erase. So all I really have to do is just switch to a new color, and he's not going to be an overly human sort of color, and a little bigger brush to start out with. And then I can start to, instead of just drawing sections or drawing outlines and filling them, I can now use my color to erase.
John, how did you explain the room again?
Alright, so to continue on, I'm going to take my weird green skinned person, convert him to a symbol. And now that he's been converted to a symbol, I am going to decide that I can hit delete. The reason I'm hitting delete is I have 170 frames that I don't want of that guy. I don't want him to even appear until the room is done changing size, and then he will come on screen. So he's not going to come on screen until frame 230 in my project. And at this point I can go into the library for my project, pull the dude out, and we can see there he is. I'm going to extend my guide so I can see that frame. Create motion tween on the guy, and then give him frames right here. Oh, didn't want to move him yet. I want to move the beginning frame. Don't want him to start on screen. Let's start him right there. And now if we notice, the room disappeared. So to get the room to reappear, I just need to give it frames. So it's just simply extend it out the same way we've extended out the guide layer, the same way we extended the sky and ground. I just hit F5. That extends out the room. Now he is going to walk across, and I'm starting to think he might be a little bit large when I look at him now that I have him next to the room. So I think I want to change his size before I start animating him. Alright, and I just shrunk my timeline. If you're a UI, if the user interface gets all wonky while you're working in Flash, a little side note here, go under Essentials up top, say Reset Essentials, and that resets your layout so things are back to where they're supposed to be. I accidentally messed mine up. So I'm going to now shrink my dude down to a little better size to start. So now that I have done that, it really is a matter of if I want him to come on screen, I can go to the end of his time, and now he can walk into the picture. So I can just hit this and see. Now, I'm not drawing any legs, but he doesn't really look like he's walking. If we test the whole movie, we can see the bird flies, camera zooms in on the house, we pull back, and then he comes in. But you can see he's just gliding across the floor as if he's on a conveyor belt. So that's not really working well for me. I want him to go up and down as if he's taking steps, because when a person walks, unless they're a supermodel on a catwalk, they go up and down as part of their walking. So I don't have to draw all of him to show that. I can just make him go up and down. So all I have to do to pull that off is I can now move through my time, through the timeline here on the tween. I can move him down a little bit, go a couple frames over, indicating the next step, and now I can move him up. Now, it's also possible to use the arrow keys to move things up and down. Sometimes I find that's easier than trying to drag objects with my mouse. So I can just simply move. Now, to go 10 clicks of the arrow at once, you hold down Shift and then hit an arrow key. So now if I play this section here, we can see that it starts to look a little bit more like he's walking. Now if I had his body parts animated each independently, so his arm swings and his head moves up and down in relation to his body a little bit, it would further enhance that illusion. But if we now compare this, and let's just give this a few extra frames so it can rest when it's done, so then we can visually digest whether this worked or not. So we extend our dude and the room out. Test the movie once more. Bird flies across, mountains moving in the background, start zooming in on the house, and pull back from the interior view, and now we can see that he hops on stage. So now I've started to really create my basic animated project.